This is the matter of the year 1940, when an 8-year-old child was playing in a village in Japan. Then he saw a moving machine on 4 wheels. It was Ford's Model T, seeing whom this child was very surprised. This was the day when that 8-year-old child was introduced to vehicles and mechanical parts for the first time. Its name was Soichiro Honda, and who knew that in the coming times we would get to see its name on every small and big vehicle. Soichiro Honda was born in 1906 in a small village near Mount Fuji, Japan. Their father, apart from being a blacksmith, he also used to do cycle repair work in part-time. Honda's 5 siblings had already died due to various diseases. From here, his parents had high hopes from their child, but he had no attachment to studies. However, Honda was more interested in repairing cycles with his father's shop. When he turned 16, he saw a job ad in the newspaper looking for technicians at 8 Sokai Names, an automobile service station in Tokyo. Honda wrote a letter to the company for the job and was lucky enough to get a positive reply from there. This was the time when Honda left home and school and hoped to earn, left for Tokyo. Honda's dream was shattered when it reached 8 Sokai in Tokyo. The owner of the company started getting Honda to do the cleaning work and also put on the babysitting work. What would poor Honda have done if he had left his home and parents on the one hand? On the other hand, you were being asked to do unnecessary work. He was ashamed to go back to his village as he could not the courage to face his parents. This was the reason that for the next several months he was forced to do the same and odd jobs. After a few months, Sokai's owner started taking workshop work from Honda. Honda had a lot of interest in this work from the beginning. That's why he used to understand things easily. In a few months, he had come to know a lot about all types of vehicles and their parts. During this time, 8 Sukai also made 2 sports cars, in which the first vehicle was 8 Dambler and the second Curtis. Both of these vehicles were made using the used engine, which won the Japanese Motor Car Championship 1924, also secured first position. Honda was still a good mechanic, but in this race he was sitting as an engineer with the driver. This was the event after which Soichiro Honda made motorsports his religion. For the next several years, he continued to work in 8 Sokai and kept on increasing his experience. In 1928, at the age of 22, its owner decided to open another branch. That branch was to be in Hamamatsu City, which the owner sent Honda there to run it. Honda started this new branch of 8 Sukai with 1 worker, and in just 2 years it has increased to 30 workers. Now Honda had also become a brilliant mechanic and racing driver. Taking advantage of his mastery, he designed a sports car for his owner. This car could run at a speed of 120 km/h, which broke all the old records. This record persists, Japan's highest record for the next 20 years. The importance of Honda had increased in the heart of the owner of 8 Sukai. He wanted to open his own workshop, but perhaps luck did not allow it. During racing in 1936, Honda had a dangerous accident. His life was saved in this accident, but his left arm got fractured. Shoulder dislocation happened and face was wound. He could see his life ending here. Neither could he work as a mechanic, nor could he participate in racing. After several months, when he got well again, he requested the owner of 8 Sukai that he can no longer do repairing work. Rather, he presented the idea, why not? Now he started a separate company to make spare parts. 8 Sukai's stakeholders quickly rejected Honda's idea. They were already getting profits and no one wanted to take new risk. On this, Honda had decided that he will open the parts manufacturing company alone. In 1936, at the age of 30, he opened Tukaiseki Heavy Industries together with his friend, and made his friend Shukai Shokato its president. He started company, but he has no investment to run company.
He worked for 8 Sukai during the day, while at night he tried to make engine pistons himself for his new company. For the next several months he continued with this routine, but he could not get any success. On the contrary, he had become weak due to continuous shift. One failure after another was blocking his way. Then he took admission in a university to master metallurgy. In 1939, after continuous hard work of 3 years, finally succeeded in making a piston. Now he left the job at 8 Sukai and started making full-time pistons. But he did not know that there are still many folds in the piston made by him. When he offered his pistons to Toyota Company, Toyota rejected 47 out of 50 designs. This news struck Honda as it did not have any way back. He started touring all over Japan to understand most of the company's requirement. He visited different factories, met car manufacturers. He spent the next several years understanding the market, and after that, Honda once again made pistons. This time the entire company had passed the quality control of this system. He started getting orders in droves, and once again Honda saw its dreams come true. To fulfill the order, that company also hired 2,000 workers. Honda's this happiness was only a guest of few months. Who knew this? In 1941, Japan jumped into World War II, and the ministry took control of several Japanese companies, including one owned by Soichiro Honda. Honda was downgraded to the position of senior managing director of his company, and things only got worse when the company's workers were drafted into military service. Next 3 years passed in extreme difficult condition, but in 1944 an incident happened, which completely dashed Honda's hopes. During the air raid, a missile directly hit the Honda factory. The condition of the whole country was getting worse and worse. Japan seemed to be fighting. Then there were 2 nuclear attacks in 1945 which completely broke the back of Japan. After this incident, Japan surrendered to the Americans. The war was over now, but Honda had lost everything. He sold his remaining asset Toyota for 4,50,000 yen and sat jobless once again. This condition was not only with Honda, but the whole Japan was going through very bad crises. The economy was melting. The acute shortage of food and water and inflation had broken everyone's back. It was very difficult to get public transport because petrol had also become expensive in Japan. During this time, Honda received a small engine from the Japanese Imperial Army, which he used to operate a wireless radio. Forced by his habit, he got an idea. He thought why not and solved his transport problem by installing engine in a cycle. With this, the transport will become easy, and it will also be cheaper because in those days people were already very worried about inflation when they saw the same engine fitted on a bicycle, so everyone liked this idea very much. Honda got a few used engines, but the demand of the people was so high that now Honda has designed its own new engine. This was the first time in history that the Honda logo was seen on any machine. Honda did not have enough money to make this cycle at the mass level, so he wrote an open letter to 18,000 shopkeepers. People had so much faith in Honda that 3,000 shopkeepers gave him a positive reply, and also gave money in advance. In the next 3 years, Honda made such a motorcycle which was according to the requirement of the market. It was launched in the name of Super Cub, which took the market by storm as soon as it arrived. This model was so successful that in 1958 it overtook America's own Triumph and Harley-Davidson sales because Honda was very hobbies of racing. That's why he now decided to make sports bikes. He would go to the all-race bike and note down the special features of the winning bikes. In those days, such sports used to be a marketing tool for the manufacturing companies rather than a competition race. Honda's first sports bike was launched in a few years, which won the first position in the 1962 International Racing Competition. In this race, the name of Honda was made famous all over the world. In 1960, Honda had become the world's largest motorcycle manufacturing company, and by 1968 had sold 10 million units. After spending 62 years of his life, finally Soichiro Honda had got success. But the dream which he had been sitting for since childhood was not yet fulfilled. Honda now wanted to go towards car manufacturing as well. Many people also forbade him to do so, but he did not listen to anyone. At that time, companies like Toyota and Nissan were already establishing their business in Japan. It was very difficult to make its new place in the market. Honda launched its first pickup truck 360, which failed. After that, launched the sports car S500, of which only 1,300 units could be sold. After years of hard work and several dozen designs were rejected, the Honda Civic was finally launched in 1972. This is that car whose new models are famous all over the world till date. In 1980, Honda Motors was the third largest manufacturing company in Japan, and in just 10 years it became the third largest in the world. Today we get to see Honda's name on car, motorcycle, boat engines, plane engines, and dozens of power tools. So Soichiro Honda took retirement from the company in 1973, the very next year of Civic's launch. And on the 5th of August 1991, this journey of his life ended forever. My dear friends, please comment us how much you liked this video and share with your family or friends. Please subscribe my channel for motivational videos. Thank you.